Okay, we are going to go ahead and get started with today's customer webinar. I want to thank everyone for attending the webinar today on 5 ways to better utilize your help desk. Since we've had so many customers contact us with issues that they've been having while working remotely or working from home, we decided to put this out there in case the working from home continues and maybe there are other customers having the same issues and they just aren't reaching out to us. So this webinar today is designed how to utilize your help desk to work for you and so that you're not manually doing a lot of things that you don't need to, that the help desk can do for you. One of the biggest things or issues that we've had is with our schools, they have had to check out iPads or laptops for students to take home and learn with. Now, as we're approaching the next school year, we're seeing that this might still be the case then. So what we have had a lot of our customers do is create a new group, because when you have to check those items out, you're going to have to troubleshoot them as well. Most of the time, it's going to be the parent that's doing the troubleshooting or contacting you in order to do so. So we can set up a new group with email to ticket only. That way, you just give the parents or the students the email address, and they just send an email there letting you know whatever the issue may be, and it goes right into this new group that you've created. That way, you can have all of those issues in one group only, and it won't mix up with your other IT groups. You could also have an additional department. Maybe you're not a school and you want to add on a department. Keep in mind that groups are unlimited in the help desk, so if you need to add multiple groups, you can go ahead and do that. One of the benefits to adding multiple groups is so that you can report on those individual departments separately, and it's not mixed into your, departments aren't crossing over, or if you are an IT department and you're just separating items or tasks or even projects, the reporting is going to stay separate. So on this webinar, typically we'll do a slideshow and show you some screenshots, but I'm going to actually log in and show you how to do all of these things. And I have also created a step-by-step help file that I will send to you as soon as this webinar is over, so that you have all the steps so that you can create these items in your help desk. So I might go a little bit fast, but just keep in mind that you are getting all of the steps to do what I'm going to show you. So I'm just going to go ahead and go into a trial here. I'm going to log in as the admin. The first thing we're going to do is create a group, or show you the group that I have created, and look at the mail settings. So to create a group, we're just going to click on groups here on the left-hand side. Now you can see that I have 4 groups. I've already created this one called Work from Home, but I'll show you real quick how to create that. You just click on Add Group, and you're just going to go ahead and name it. Let's see. Now the options here for the asset tracker. Now if you did send home laptops with students and you want to track those, you can go ahead and select the EHG's internal asset tracker. And if those are already in your system, great, you can attach those to tickets. If they're not in your system, then you can add those either through a CSV file, or if you want to add, with each student that sends one in, just add them one at a time, you can do that as well. The permission model, it's going to go to the default. If you want to create additional permission models for different departments, you can. Requiring the category and category option, you just want to check that if you would like, mainly for this example, the technician to categorize it. You probably don't want to for this example, but this is where that option is. And you can also create an SLA if you would like to. So we're just going to click on Save. So this group is now created, and if I scroll down a little bit, I can see that if I want to add categories and category options, then they will display here. And then this is where I can also add in technicians if I would like. Now once this group is created, It will use the same locations, the same statuses, priorities. All of this information will remain the same. So you don't have to set any of that up. So to take a look at the mail setting, I'm just going to click on mail here. Now, in this particular example, I don't have the outgoing mail set up, but you already do. This is how your technicians will communicate with your end users. But what you need to do is come look down here at the incoming. Now, I don't have an incoming box. You might have one here or maybe 2 or 3. It just depends on how many groups you have. But you can add multiple inboxes for each group. So if I click on new inbox, what I'm going to do is select or enter in the server field. So the username, the password, what you want the reply name to be. You know, all of this would be configured in your mail, and then you'll just copy it to here. But the important part for the help desk is going to be here on the right-hand side. The emails from non-users. Typically, when you're at work and you're all connected to the intranet, you would say reject mail because you don't want to get spam from outsiders. But in this situation where you're having people working from home or students contacting you, you want to click create account. That way the tickets will go through. If you leave it on reject mail because they are on the outside and they're not already in the system, it will reject the tickets they're trying to submit. You can enter a location here. It can be a specific location or a general one. This is the important part, the group. This is where you're going to want to select that group that you just set up, and then you can go ahead and select the priority. So you would just go ahead and save changes. And now once that's saved, you can do a test, and it will test the parameters that you've entered. And if they are correct and it went through, then you will get that information. If there's an error, that will pop up as well. Okay, so that's creating a group and setting up an email to ticket. It's pretty quick to just get that done. You know, if you are ever going to be checking things out faster than you anticipated. But if you do want to set it up now and have it ready for the fall, that would be great. So the next item here is the watcher feature. We've gotten a lot of questions about multiple technicians working on a ticket, as well as directors, managers, principals in our schools to see what tickets are coming in. So we did add a watcher feature. It came out in version 10.5 of the help desk. I don't know, I've had a lot of people ask these questions lately, so maybe it was just something that was missed, but we did make a change to it in the most recent version, and I will show you everything that it does. So the first thing that you want to do is check your permission model. When you go to the permission model, we're just going to edit the permission model. And then the watcher feature is down here at the bottom. There's 2 options, view watchers and change watchers. Now this is where you're going to decide who you want to be able to do those things. So if I click on the word roles, it's going to show me who has access to view the watchers. Right now it's the user. If you don't want users to see that there's multiple people looking at the ticket, we can go ahead and change that to technician. And then changing the watchers, we'll click on roles as well. This one is set to technician. So right now, the way that this is set up, technicians can view the watchers and they can change the watchers. End users cannot. Now keep in mind that if your principal is an end user or your director or your manager is an end user, because you don't want them to have full technician rights, they might need to add another person to the watcher list. It just depends on what your setup is. So if you do have specific scenarios, you can just go ahead and give me a call or send me an email, and we can make sure these permissions are correct. So now that the permissions are set, what I'm going to do is click on new ticket here. So the ticket would be filled out when it comes in. If you notice, watchers is displayed right here, and there is a little blue 0. So in order for me to add a watcher to this, I would just click on that 0, start typing in the names. This, because I only have a couple people in the demo, it populates everybody. And so I've added another technician. And I could just go ahead and save this. Now what's going to happen from here on out is this watcher is going to receive all notifications with this ticket. If the end user places a comment or asks a question, they will receive an email notification. If the technician does the same, they will receive an email notification. So the way that you would typically use this for multiple technicians to work on a ticket, I think I selected no on that. I will show you. Let me just go ahead and add this in here. Okay, so the ticket's been submitted. I have a watcher. So let's say I'm working this ticket and I've added my other technician and I want to ask them a question or just collaborate with them. I can simply add a comment, type in my information here in the note, and then I'm going to select technician, and I'm also going to select technicians only. So when I save this, the end user is not going to see that comment. So this is how maybe you have level 1 technicians, level 2 technicians. This is how you can work together on a particular ticket without, in keeping everything in the ticket. So you don't have to go to your email and send an email to the other technician and reference the ticket number. It's all kept right here in the history of the ticket, and the end user will never see it. Now, if your end user or your watcher is a principal and they are just a user, they won't see that either because they don't have the technician only rights. So whatever their rights are in the system, if they are a watcher, then they have the same rights when they look at that ticket. So users don't typically have the rights to change the assignment, to change the status. All of these are grayed out. So they'll still just have the exact same rights. You're just giving them a view only. Now, the last thing that was added recently was adding a watcher to a location. So what this does, we had quite a few of our schools say that, you know, their principal or someone at the school wanted to see all of the tickets that were being submitted at their location. So what you can do here, if I go ahead and edit the school or edit one of these locations, under watchers, I can just go ahead and select that person that wants to view everything. And actually, I'll select Jane Doe. So now, anytime a ticket is submitted under Brown Elementary, then Jane will get an email because she is a watcher. So she's going to just get that notification there. So that's how you add a watcher to an entire location. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about here is how to create a workflow process. Now, in the help desk, the workflow is all listed under templates. And there are different things that you can do here, and we're going to go over all 3 of them. But the first one we're going to do is the workflow process. So when creating a workflow process, you want to get from point A to point D as fast as you can. So as soon as you have that figured out, all of the steps that need to happen in the process, you can come in here and you would essentially create tickets for each one of those. So a good example is a new hire. Now this is the reason it's a good example is there's several things that take place when you hire someone, from HR to setting up their machines, to giving them a phone to use, things like that. So I've only added 4 tickets in here, but you can add as many as you want. So I'm going to click on the edit button, and you're going to see that I've created 4 different tickets, setting up the workstation, the phone, the software. Those are all IT-based items. And this last one, policy training, this one would go to HR. So the nice thing about these processes is they can cross over to other departments rather than have your IT department do everything they need to and then contact HR to see, you know, what else needs to be done or hand the ball over to them. So now that the tickets are created, you notice the only thing not filled out is the contact information. And that's not filled out because it could be the person that's submitting it, or you might even be adding the new hire here, or maybe it's the person that's going to be their supervisor. It just depends on the situation. If you want to fill the contact out, you can. So I would click over here to this workflow tab, and I've already set this one up. So you can see that I have different steps here. But the key to this screen is this enable workflow. You have to check mark this box. When you come in here, it is not check marked. So if you don't do that, then the workflow process is not going to complete. It'll do step 1 and that's it. So what I have here is the step 1 is the workstation setup. Now, when I came into this screen, it was sitting, all of my tickets were over here. So I just created 4 different steps and then dragged and dropped them. So step 1, workstation setup. When that ticket is closed, then the phone setup ticket will launch. And when that's closed, then the software, then it goes to the policy training. And then this one right here, I added it on my last demo, but didn't put anything in here. But this is how easy it is to add another step. I can just click on the plus sign. And this one, I would go ahead and drag and drop my ticket here. And then here's my step 6. So anytime you don't see a step completed status, like on this one, that would be the very last ticket in the workflow process. So I don't really need that one or this one, so I'm going to delete those. Now keep in mind that on this example, I have 1 ticket in each step, but if I need 3 things to happen at the same time, I can put them, all 3 tickets on the same step. It might be 3 items that 3 different departments do, but I want that to be the very first thing that happens, or it even could be in the middle. So you can have multiple tickets on each step. So as soon as this is saved, now we can put this into place. So if I hire someone, what I do is I come here and I would launch that. It's going to automatically put my name in as the contact because I'm logged in. But if I needed to change that, this is where I would go ahead and do so. And then as soon as that is all complete, notice you can make any changes that you need to. We would simply save those because I did add a different contact. And then we can launch that. And it looks like I didn't add a location on the other tickets. So you can see real quick if you made an error, and then I can go back in and edit that. But that's how quick it would be to launch as soon as the templates are ready to go. Okay, so the next one, I called it a quick ticket. It's just something that happens all the time. So you can predetermine all of the fields, and then when you launch it, all you're going to be doing is updating the contact information. So the process is the same in creating all of these. So I'm going to click the edit button again so that you can see that it does look the same. I'll click right on the network password reset. And notice I have it all filled out because this is something that happens all the time. Whether they're calling it in and I'm submitting it for them, or you can open up these quick tickets to your end users and they can go ahead and launch their own. So for them to launch this, because their name would automatically be filled in when they're logged in, it's 2 clicks. Instead of coming up here, clicking on new ticket, and maybe doing 12 to 15 clicks and filling out some information. So it is a lot faster. So this one is set. And now the same thing, I would launch it the same way, network password reset. Now remember, you could open this up to your end users and they just wouldn't see these other options here. All they're going to see is this blue arrow. So they will go ahead and click that. I think I need to be logged in as someone else to submit these. But we're going to try it. Okay, so I'll go ahead and save that. And then I'll launch that. Okay. Let me do it. So now that one went ahead and went through. Now, remember, if they were logged in, they wouldn't have even had to do what I did here. It was set for them, and they could go ahead and launch that. So it's pretty quick and easy. Now, the last item is anything that reoccurs. So a good example is in the maintenance department, they need to change the air filters. It's something that happens once every 3 months, 4 months, whatever it may be. But instead of setting a reminder in your phone or putting it on your calendar, you can just create this ticket, and then on that day, the first day of every 3 months, you'll get the ticket in your queue, and it'll be just like it was submitted then, and there's your reminder, and you fill it out, and it's all documented as far as you completing the tasks. So I'm just going to go ahead and edit this one again. Now again, the setup is the same. You can see every time I come to this screen, it looks the same. So I set all the parameters here. Now this time I did put a contact in because that's me. And I want this, I want to be the contact, but I also am the technician, because this is just a ticket that I'm putting in for myself. We did find that a lot of our customers would do reoccurring tasks like this, and they just weren't documenting it. And so this is a really easy way to get that documentation in there as far as your reporting goes, and to really document, what you're doing or what your people are doing. After you create the ticket here, you would go to the Recurrence tab, and you can choose different items, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. So I'm going to go ahead and do monthly, and then it says the first day of every 3 months. So that's how you can go ahead and put it in to come every 3 months instead of every month. So the start date, I put in today because I haven't started it yet, and I did put to end never. Well, that's the default, but you can end it by a certain date. Maybe you're just going to do this for the next 12 months, or you can put end after 4 occurrences, and then there you go. That's 12 months. So we'll go ahead and save that. Start it tomorrow. Maybe that. Okay. So now if I come back over here to ticket templates, where it says change air filter, notice it's not running yet. And the way I can tell is those black dots are not running in a circle. So in order to this, so that I will start to get these tickets, I just need to click on the blue arrow, and now it's running. So even when you're done with this, you can come in and stop it and then pick it up at any point. So maybe you do it for 12 months, and then if you want to come back in and start it up, you can. So just keep that in mind as well. So that is a reoccurring ticket template. It's really slick, and it's really the same. I mean, I used to set reminders in my phone or on my calendar all the time to get something done. But using the help desk, now I can document it, and that's my reminder. That's all I need. So the very last thing for this webinar would be is automating reporting. Now, all of the reports in the help desk are run off of filters. I'm sure that you create or have created several filters, and I'm actually going to log into the live version here because I do have some reports there. So if I click here on filters, I can see all of the filters that I've created. Okay, and then we have public filters that others have created. So we're going to go ahead and work with this open support tickets filter. And I just want to show you, in case you don't know already, I've got my parameters here. So I only want to see the open support tickets, nothing that's closed. So I've done those 2 selections. And then here on the right-hand side, this is going to be the order of the information that I receive, either in the PDF or the CSV file when it's exported. So if I were to run this and export it, this is the order that it's going to be in. But you can change this order. I mean, you can drag and drop things. You can add items. Like one thing that I like to add is the modified date. And I like to see it next to the created date so that I can see when the ticket came in versus when the last time it was modified. But just keep in mind that you can switch this around. You can add things. You can take them off. That's what this column here is used for. Now that my filter's created, I can come over here to reports. Now I already have some reports created, but I'll go ahead and create one from scratch. And I typically name the reports the same thing as the filter, just so that I know what filter is driving that report. Now I already have a report for this, so I'm just going to write support tickets. And then I'm going to select that filter. And then it's automatically marked as private, meaning you would be the only one that can see it. That's something that you might want to keep that way, because if this filter is changed, That's what's driving the report, and that's obviously going to change your results. So you can leave it as private, or if you want other technicians to see it, you can. End users, of course, would never see that, but the two other options there are show detail and report by date. So showing the detail is going to give you ticket numbers that you can click on, and it will take you right into the ticket. And then report by date, we'll just put it in date order, and then also by month and year. So the next section, grouping the report by, this one, it defaults to technician, but you can change that. So if you want to look at maybe one entire location, you can do that. I'm going to, just because we don't really use the location on our tickets, I'm going to leave it at technician. And I could just save that, and I'm going to see, you know, how many tickets each technician has. Now, if I want to see more information on that, I can go ahead and regroup and drill down. So if I'm looking at a technician and I see, okay, they have 10 tickets, but what are those tickets? I can come here and say, okay, I want to see what the status of those tickets are. So it just orders it that way, and you can do these in any way. You can look at a status and then break it down by a location or by a certain technician. The ordering is always set to alphabetically, but there is one other option of the greatest number of tickets. I always stick with alphabetically. And then the format is going to be PDF, HTML, Excel, or CSV. I typically leave it on PDF just because it's going to be a nice little bar graph and it looks a little better. But you can do any of those. Now, I could just save this, and then that's the report. And when I want to run it, I come in here and I click on View, and then it's going to show me those tickets. Make this a little bigger. Maybe. So it's giving all of the technicians here, and it's showing how many tickets. Now, if I want to drill down, so here's myself, I'll click on my name. For some reason, this is making me log back in, but then it's going to give me what the statuses of those 18 tickets are. So you can download this, but the good option, this is how I would do it, is I can come in here and instead of coming in and running this report, I can run it on a schedule. So if this is something that I want to get, like we have a meeting every Thursday that I do these reports for. And so rather than remembering to come in and run that report, I just have the report automatically emailed to me. And then I have it ready to go. I can send it to who I need to, but I also could add multiple people to that. So everyone could get the report, and then we're ready for the meeting. So I'm going to switch this to weekly. So we have our meetings on Thursday, so I'll select Thursday. So this is set to send me an email every Thursday. Now sending the ticket filter results. If I go ahead and select that, I have an option of PDF or Excel. Now those filter results are the same thing as if you went to run a filter and you export it. You can export it in PDF format or in Excel format. So it will just attach it to the report or to the email, and then you'll have those results there as well. The range of recurrence, it's going to always put in the current date that you set this up, and it's always going to say end never, but you can go ahead and change those options here. So I'm going to put myself in here, and I'm going to add Dan. I always spell his name wrong. Okay, and then the subject, I could go ahead and, oops. And then the body. Okay, so it's done. I'm going to click Save Report. And when I come out here to support tickets, just the same as the the templates, I'm going to start that process. So now I will receive that every Thursday. So one other thing that I want to show you is this showing the detail. Now, showing the detail is probably not something that you want to take to a meeting because there's going to be a lot of ticket numbers there, but it might be something that you want to see. Because I can click on view, and this one's going to look a little different. See how this first Alex, it's going to show all of his tickets here. Now at the end of this, you're going to see the same pretty report, that you did earlier. You can still drill down on it, do all of the same things, but what you can do here is I can just click on that ticket ID and it will take me right into that ticket. So that might be something more useful for you if you're the manager or you're running the help desk than it would be in a meeting. Typically, you're just looking at numbers and statuses and not necessarily all of the detail. So that's all that I have for the webinar today. We are going to be doing another webinar on July 22nd. So if anyone has any suggestions as far as something that might help you or something that you want to know more about, you can go ahead and send those to me. I've already had a few people comment here in the chat of things that they would like to see. So just look for an invite to that webinar, and then we can go ahead and do that one next month. And then we are also going to do another one in August. So we're just trying to get you ready for, all of our schools ready for school to start back up. And a lot of these things, of course, apply to, more customers than just schools. But if you have anything that you want to discuss, whether it be different features in the program or something more technical, I can get a support technician on here as well to go over some items. So also, as soon as this is over, I will go ahead and send to you a copy of this PDF or this help file. And like I said, it gives step-by-step instructions on everything I just showed you. So if you have any questions, just let me know. And if you want to do a one-on-one webinar or screen share that I can take a look at your screen, we can do that as well. So feel free to contact me or the support staff and we can get that set up for you. So thank you for attending today, and we will see you next month.